Have you ever been taught that kindness is a noble virtue, the key to happiness, success, and fulfillment in life? That you should always be kind, caring, and help others unconditionally? Perhaps you've heard this many times from family, teachers, or friends. But today I'm here to share with you a different perspective. A truth that might surprise you: kindness can actually ruin your life. Sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? How could such a beautiful quality like kindness lead to negative consequences? Could it be that caring too much about others, giving endlessly while neglecting yourself, could become a double-edged sword, backfiring and causing unforeseen harm? Today, let's dare to view kindness from a different angle, a more realistic and insightful perspective. Together, we'll explore the traps hidden behind unconditional kindness and discover how to live a meaningful life with a warm heart, but one that is also wise and strong. There's a harsh reality that when you're too kind, others may begin to take advantage of you. They start to see your kindness not as an admirable trait, but as a weakness they can exploit. You help them, you lend them money, you give up everything to meet their needs. And because you're so kind, you always say yes, even when it's inconvenient or harmful to yourself. This leads to feelings of exhaustion, fatigue, and ultimately resentment, all because you don't dare to say no. I've seen many people fall into this situation. They are kind-hearted, always willing to help others, but over time, they start to be taken for granted. When they need help in return, no one is there for them. They keep giving until there's nothing left to give, and when that happens, they not only lose what they have, but also feel empty and abandoned in their own kindness. But the tragedy doesn't end there. Being overly kind not only makes you vulnerable to exploitation, but it also causes you to miss out on opportunities to stand up for yourself and assert your own needs and rights. You become so preoccupied with others that you forget your own dreams and goals. And in the end, when you look back, all you're left with is regret, because your personal happiness was sacrificed for the benefit of others. In Stoic philosophy, there is an important concept about maintaining personal boundaries and not letting yourself be swayed by external circumstances. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Epictetus teach that we must be aware of our limits, knowing what we can control and what is beyond our reach. One of the core lessons of this philosophy is to focus on what is within our control and not let our minds be distracted by factors outside of it. So this principle can be very effectively applied to managing our kindness. Seneca once said, "We should not blame others for exploiting us, but rather blame ourselves for allowing it to happen." This profound reminder suggests that being taken advantage of doesn't solely lie in the actions of others, but also in how we establish our personal boundaries. You have the right to refuse if something doesn't feel right, and no one can force you to do anything if you don't agree. When you learn to say no gracefully, you're protecting yourself and ensuring that no one can exploit your kindness. Epictetus also taught that happiness doesn't depend on pleasing others, but rather on maintaining inner peace. If you allow yourself to become an unlimited resource for the needs of others, sooner or later, you will be drained emotionally and mentally. Take the time to reflect on yourself and what you want to achieve in life. Don't let your kindness become a tool for others to exploit. Instead, use it selectively and wisely. Another important aspect of Stoic philosophy is that we shouldn't rely too heavily on recognition or gratitude from others. Kindness should not be a means to seek approval or praise. Instead, do it because it is the right thing to do, without expecting anything in return. However, this doesn't mean you should accept being taken advantage of. Stoicism does not encourage blind self-sacrifice. Rather, it advises us to live with integrity, maintain personal boundaries, and only help when it doesn't harm ourselves. Secondly, uncontrolled kindness can easily turn you into someone who is overly accommodating, breaking your own principles. When you consistently put others' needs ahead of your own, you unknowingly send the message that you are unimportant. People around you will start to expect that you will always agree to whatever they ask, always follow their plans without any objections, and never be the cause of any trouble. In that case, your kindness is no longer a noble quality, but a path leading to exploitation. Would you gradually become someone who can easily be manipulated and controlled? Once you fall into this state, breaking free becomes harder than ever. Because the moment you try to assert yourself, people will be shocked and uncomfortable. They will accuse you of being selfish, of no longer being as kind as you once were, simply because they've become used to you always putting their needs first. And the most painful part is that they won't see your change as a reasonable response but as an act of betrayal. They'll make you feel guilty for not continuing to meet their expectations, and gradually you'll be pulled back into your old state, like a doormat for others to trample on. Stoic philosophy, with its timeless principles, provides us with profound insights into managing and protecting ourselves from being exploited. One of the most important lessons of Stoicism is the concept of autonomy, meaning that you have the right to control your emotions and actions even when facing external pressures. Seneca also reminded us that kindness and benevolence do not equate to allowing others to take advantage of us. Kindness only truly matters when it is given voluntarily and from a sincere heart. If your kindness has turned into a tool for others to achieve their goals without respecting you, then you need to reassess the relationship and set boundaries for yourself. A wise person is not someone who gives unconditionally without thinking, but someone who knows when to help and when to say no in order to protect themselves. So this is especially important when you start asserting your needs in relationships where you have previously been accepting. The discomfort others may feel when you begin to say no is inevitable. Setting personal boundaries and defending your needs doesn't make you selfish or unkind, but rather it's a sign of self-respect and self-love. In fact, if you don't respect yourself, you can't expect others to do so. People will continue to take you for granted if you don't know how to assert your own worth, and if you constantly prioritize their needs over your own. Epictetus once taught, "No one can hurt you unless you allow them to." This means that if you don't establish strong boundaries, you will easily be hurt by others' expectations and exploitation. Thirdly, kindness in today's world can sometimes be a double-edged sword, especially when it comes to achieving success in life. The reality is that in a highly competitive environment, kind people often fall behind. To move forward and achieve great goals, you need confidence, competitiveness, and sometimes even a bit of ruthlessness. Success requires decisiveness, taking risks, and making difficult decisions, even if those decisions may hurt others or cause unwanted inconvenience. However, when you are too kind, you may hesitate to do these things. You don't want to create conflict, inconvenience anyone, or be seen as aggressive or as selfish, and as a result, you retreat, play it safe, and miss out on valuable opportunities to advance in your career or reach your goals. I have witnessed many talented and hard-working individuals being overlooked because they were too kind. They have the skills and abilities to go further, but due to their kindness, they choose to step back. Instead of demanding what they deserve, they remain silent and let others take the credit. Instead of competing healthily to achieve success, they don't pursue what they truly want out of fear that it might cause trouble or discomfort to others. They don't want to stir things up, so they choose to live quietly. But the sad truth is, success is not given to the kindest people, but to those who are willing to take on challenges, fight for what they want, and are not afraid to take risks. Kindness should not be a barrier to your development. Rather, it should be a tool to help you move further. You can be kind while still maintaining control over your life. You can set boundaries and stand up for what you believe is right without necessarily being ruthless or selfish. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This means that kindness does not necessarily need to go hand in hand with humility or weakness. You can be a good person while also being firm and protecting your legitimate rights. In life, especially in work and career, kindness cannot mean giving up your ambitions or sacrificing precious opportunities. On the contrary, true kindness must be accompanied by confidence and courage to face great challenges. Being too kind and not wanting to cause trouble for others can sometimes lead to you being overlooked, not just in the eyes of your colleagues, but also in your own self-esteem. You may gradually lose confidence in your abilities because you constantly let others take positions that rightfully belong to you. This can create a vicious cycle of insecurity, where you shy away from pursuing bigger goals out of fear of being seen as too ambitious or selfish. However, it's crucial to understand that ambition is not a bad thing. Ambition is the driving force that leads to success, and sometimes you need to overcome the barriers that kindness creates to reach your full potential. Stoic philosophy advises us to live a life based on principles and not to fear offending others when we stand up for what we believe is right. Seneca once said, "It is foolish to fear the displeasure of those we are not obliged to please." So this teaching reminds us that the fear of making others uncomfortable or unhappy should not be a barrier that prevents us from moving forward. In some cases, discomfort and tension are inevitable, especially when you are fighting for important goals in life. If you constantly put others first and give up your own ambitions, you will never reach your true potential. You will always be bound by misplaced kindness, and this will keep you playing it safe, never daring to push your own limits. You will be held back by the fear of disappointing others, and as a result, you will waste opportunities to shine and prove yourself. Stoic philosophy not only teaches us to live with kindness, but also encourages us to live with decisiveness, an understanding of our own value, and the willingness to take risks to achieve success. Fourthly, there is a paradox that few people realize: kindness, when misplaced, can become a barrier preventing you from living authentically. When we focus too much on pleasing others, avoiding hurting their feelings, we unintentionally begin to censor ourselves. We hide our true thoughts and opinions, presenting an edited version of ourselves to the world. We fear that being straightforward will conflict, that being different will isolate us. And so, in our efforts to please others, we gradually lose ourselves. The truth is, people have a subtle sensor for detecting dishonesty. They can sense when we are not genuine, when we are concealing or distorting the truth. Over time, trust begins to erode. They start doubting the things we say, the actions we take, and the distance between us and them grows wider. Moreover, when we constantly suppress our true selves, we gradually lose touch with who we really are. We become strangers to our own thoughts, emotions, and deepest desires. We feel like imposters, living someone else's life instead of our own. And that is a deeply exhausting, uncomfortable feeling, one that eventually becomes unbearable. Ancient Stoic philosophy emphasized the importance of living authentically. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Live a life of truth, simplicity, and humility." He advised us to always be honest with ourselves, to live in alignment with our core values, and not to be swayed by external pressures. Be brave in expressing your views and thoughts, even if they differ from the majority. Don't fear conflicts or debates. Instead, see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Living authentically doesn't mean you have to be rude or selfish. You can still be kind, caring, and help others, but with sincerity and wisdom. Learn to set boundaries, know when to say no, and prioritize your core values. Only when you are true to yourself can you find real happiness and build meaningful, lasting relationships. Fifthly, in an imperfect world, kindness can sometimes foster ingratitude. When we give too much without expecting anything in return, we inadvertently create a habit in the recipient. They gradually become accustomed to receiving without giving back, viewing your kindness as something they are entitled to. Instead of feeling grateful, they start to expect more and even demand it. This ingratitude doesn't stem from their inability to understand the value of kindness, but from their becoming too accustomed to being pampered, to receiving without giving in return. Imagine you give a child a loaf of bread every day. At first, they may feel thankful for your help, but gradually they will start to see it as a given, as a right that they deserve. And one day, when you no longer provide the bread, they will feel angry, perhaps even accuse you of being ungrateful and uncaring. They forget that your kindness was a choice, not an obligation. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Every excess is harmful. Kindness is no exception." When we give too much without expecting anything in return, we unknowingly create a habit in the recipient, causing them to gradually lose their ability to appreciate and be grateful. They start seeing our kindness as a given, as a duty we must fulfill, rather than as a valuable gift they are fortunate to receive. Imagine yourself as a diligent gardener, watering and nourishing the flowers in your garden every day. At first, the wilted flowers will bloom and give off a fragrant scent in gratitude for your care. But if you continue tending without pruning or shaping, they will grow wildly, crowding each other and eventually wither. Similarly, blind kindness without wisdom can spoil others and lead to negative consequences. This doesn't mean we should stop being kind or helping others. Instead, we need to be wiser in how we express our kindness. Set clear boundaries and principles. Give when you genuinely want to, and have the courage to say no when you feel uncomfortable. Don't let your kindness be taken advantage of or disrespected. Remember, kindness is a precious gift, but not everyone is deserving of it. Reserve it for those who appreciate it, those who will be grateful and reciprocate your kindness, and most importantly, always remember to love and value yourself. Don't let kindness make you forget your own worth. And there you have it. We've journeyed through the unexpected shadows of kindness, those hidden downsides that few ever consider. Hopefully these insights have given you a more nuanced perspective on kindness, and more importantly, empowered you to protect yourself from its potential pitfalls. Remember, kindness is a precious quality, but it should always be accompanied by wisdom and strength. Give with your whole heart, but never forget to protect your own worth. Live authentically, be kind and discerning, so that your kindness truly brings happiness and meaning to your life. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. See you in the next one.